Then I took a picture of the bra, and obviously made an appointment the next day to get into the doctor. They took a look at that, and they were just like, oh, it's probably nothing. It's it's probably just a blocked milk duct. And
so did it come out of the nipple? Is that really? Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
And then I was just like, well, that's kind of funny considering I never breastfed, and my daughter's 1.5 years old. So
right.
I'm not feeling that comfortable with you're just it's nothing.
Well, especially your history.
You're fine.
And you've had a history with doctors that hasn't been completely positive, right? So
I think everybody has this history. I think I just challenge them more than the average person, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So then, they sent me in, obviously, for all the ultrasounds and, the mammograms and blah, 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 and all this and that. And, I kept getting it's probably nothing. And when they were doing the ultrasound, when I went in there, the radiologist, she left. And then she came back in, and then she left again. And then she left me for like 10 minutes sitting in there. I'm like, okay. And then like the doctor comes in, and then he's like ultrasounding, and then I'm just like, okay, seriously, like you guys are tripping me out.
Yeah, someone with anxiety. I'm getting anxiety right now.
And then he's like, oh, we're taking a look here, and there's some tissue here that we don't typically like to see, but it's probably nothing.
Again, with the probably nothing.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then
How scared were you at this point?
Oh, at that point I was like, I was starting to get pretty freaking scared.
Because that's like most people's worst nightmare, right? I mean, I still think about like, what is it? 1 in 3 people that are getting cancer these days? Or
I was 36 years old. I was a single mom, with a little girl at home with no daddy, and she was 1.5 years old.
So you had your daughter with the man that you had lost?
No.
Okay.
No. So it was pretty scary. It was certainly extremely scary because I'm like, with anxiety, you've got like a gazillion things that are going through your head.
Sure. Okay.
Again, I'm going to quote my mom again, where my mom would always say, like, I make mountains out of molehills. And that's what I was doing. You're just thinking any possible scenario.
So you're trying to calm yourself down at that point?
I needed a bottle of tequila, maybe, but and then when I go to I get dressed and I go to leave, and then the radiologist, I don't even know why, I'm just like, really, to this day it's stuck in my head. She puts her hand on my back and she goes, good luck.
Oh, jeez.
What the fuck?
Are you kidding me?
I'm not even kidding you. I'm just like, really? This is how you had to end that conversation? You can say, hey, have a good day. Have a nice life.
Good luck.
Try and avoid that rain today. I don't know. What about the Blue Jays? I don't know, something. But yeah. And as soon as I walked out of the room, I just crumbled. Like I had to find like the nearest washroom, and I was just like hyperventilating. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, and it was a few days after that, then I got the call. And that honestly was when I found the blood in my bra. It was 2 weeks after getting off of the stage of my last fitness competition. So I was in the very best shape of my life. Mm-hmm. Super lean, super fit, super healthy, you would assume. Mm-hmm. I wasn't tired. I didn't feel sick. I didn't look sick. So I was just,
must have felt so ironic, right? Like, what? Like,
like, how does this even happen? It doesn't run in my family. There's no genetic predisposition. Like, nothing. Nothing.
It's just the bad luck that your mom was talking about.
Thanks, Mom.
Wow. So obviously you're feeling a million different emotions.
Yeah.
And that you just got a handle on your sort of anxiety issue.
Yeah.
And now you have to deal with this.
Yes.
And then what happens?
Well, and then, what happened after that was I started scrambling around, trying to figure out, what's going to happen? Like, what if the worst case scenario happens? Like, what if, my doctor was lining me up for, extensive chemo and radiation, because of my age and all of this stuff. And he's like, you're not going to be able to work. There's no way you're going to be able to work. You're going to need somebody to help you out with your daughter. I didn't have anybody.
Right.
I didn't have anybody. And then I was just like, I was afraid of like, are they going to take her away from me because they don't think I can look after her? How am I going to feed her? How am I going to how am I going to do all of these things, right? So, yeah, it was definitely the scariest time of my life, but that, you know, created the person that I am today. So if honestly, like when I think back on it, if I hadn't have gone through that, I wouldn't be half the person that I am today.
Right.
Right. But I mean, you sure as hell don't want somebody to go through cancer to get to that point.
Right.
But
so what did you end up doing for treatment?
Well, then I was diagnosed in September. Here's how the funding works in Canada. So I was scheduled for my OR December the 6th.
Okay.
So I walked around for 2.5 months with cancer in me, not knowing, you know, should I take my vitamins? Is that going to make that grow more? Should I just eat whatever I want? Should I eat healthy? Should I not eat healthy? Like, what should I do? I just want to drink all day. That would probably be the best option. Like, I didn't know what to do. I mean, that was the worst because I'm just like, get it out of me. Like,
not knowing.
I don't want this in my body. Like, I don't want this in my bloodstream. I don't want this in my
system.
system, right? You know, and then it was just preparing myself for, you know, what is this going to look like? You know, I'm knee deep in, you know, childbearing years. You know, I wasn't with anybody at the time. So how's this going to affect future relationships? Sure. You know, how is this going to affect like everything? Like me as a personal trainer, how's it going to affect me as a competitor? How's it going to affect me as a mother? Am I going to be able to be a mother again?
Right.
You know, because those are the other things. Like if I had to do chemo and radiation, I wouldn't be able to be a mother again.
Really?
No. So there was a lot. Like, I mean, there was a lot more on the line being taken away from me than just my breath.
Right.
Right. So, that was a hard pill to swallow.
No kidding.
So what method of treatment did you end up choosing?
I had the mastectomy.
Which is?
They removed all the tissue.
Okay.
So they removed all of my left breast.
Okay.
They left my right. They put an expander in there to stretch out the skin, which I had to go in to get regularly filled. So then I had this like one ginormous like mega boob on one side because you have to stretch it way out before you can put an implant in. Yeah. So I lived with that until April, and then I went back in for my second surgery to get the reconstruction done.
No chemo, no radiation.
So during my mastectomy, then they took my lymph nodes as well, and if there was even a microscopic cell that was found in those lymph nodes, which was very high percentage that it was going to come back, I would have had heavy duty chemo or radiation. Okay. They didn't find any cells
really
in the lymph nodes.
So you didn't need any chemo or radiation, you just needed to get it out of there. Really? Wow. Yep. Incredible.
Yeah, and I got that prognosis like...
So you do have some luck. Yeah, a little bit. I mean, not much, but
yeah, I'm working on using that little bit with the lottery. It's not happening for me yet, though. But hey, I'm so hopeful.
So you ended up, and that's where I saw it. I mean, you put some of these pictures of your resculpted breast online for women to see.
Yes.
Right.
And the reason that I did that was partially it was just to put out there and just be raw.
Sure.
And
which
just
I can appreciate.
Be transparent with it. And I think that was more because I knew that I was at a point or a place of influence or, you know, persuasion perhaps that I could make it, you know, real for people.
Right.
When I was first diagnosed, one of the first things that I did, obviously, was I went home and I scoured the internet. You know, what the hell is this going to look like?
Yeah, it's probably super scary. I can't imagine.
And the images that I came across were of like the raw, deep, dark pictures, which are very important as well too, and they have a great sort of to tell, and you know, I commend all those women for putting that out there for sure. But for somebody who's newly diagnosed at 36 years of age with, you know, a 1.5-year-old little girl at home and in no relationship and stuff, that shit's horrifying.
Yeah, I've learned not to Google
100%.
things. You Google anything relating to illness, like STDs,
I'm the worst for that.
anything, they go like, boom. You're
Yeah.
like, oh.
So, anyways, then you know, I wanted to put it out there and show people it wasn't as horrifying as preliminarily thought. Right?
Sure.
And that there was still beauty to be had.
100%.
But you know, I mean, I obviously still have my insecurities to this day based around it. And, you know, I've launched, you know, a charity event and several different projects in and around and based on that. And it's just, you know, what I got back from seeing some of those images was just something that I'd never seen in any of the photography I'd ever done prior to that. Mm-hmm. So it was just like, all of a sudden I'd seen like a deeper side of my beauty per se.
Right.
That
more raw.
wasn't even there before. It was just absent.
Yeah.
It's unique to you.
Well, I think it's a unique experience for anyone to go through.
Right, absolutely.
You know, it's taking the unfortunate and making it unique, right? And you know, finding the beauty in everything, right? But so then that's where I launched, you know, a charity event after that, and it was called Bustin' Out, and it was, you know, built based on, you did my hair for that. And then so it was based around, you know, doing like, you know, photo shoots for early or younger breast cancer survivors, and, you know, having them kind of come out and find their mojo again and, you know, feel beautiful again.
And how did that work out?
It worked out fantastic. So
Good.
we raised money for Wellspring, which Wellspring is a non-funded organization that works with cancer patients and their caregivers and the children involved, and creates programs for everybody to help them heal. The one thing that really touched me was they did artwork classes for the children. And this is...
There's Kleenex right there.
That's okay.
Okay.
And it's where they would paint pictures, where they would tell stories about their mom, and it really, really touched me.
Yeah.
So it was something that I really wanted to give back to them, because they didn't have any government funding. They didn't have any funding outward other than what was given to them through donations or through charities. So I put that together and raised $6,000 for them.
Good for
that.
you.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Good for you.
And then from that, then that's where I went into more of empowering women to, you know, see past their flaws and their insecurities, because it's all in one and the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My breast isn't any different than somebody else's cellulite.
Right.
Sure. You know, everybody has like their own insecurities.
Right.
So it was putting together programs for people, and the one that I'm doing right now is called 6 Weeks of Sexy. So basically I build their program, they do their program with me, we get them in the best, awesome, most wonderful shape, you know.
That you can do, sure.
Yep, and then I have them set up with some of the best in their industry for hair and makeup, spray tans, and and then I have them set up with George Polio as well too for the photography, and he's just magical in what he does for his boudoir work. So he just finds like the right angle and just works on, you know, he finds those curves and he like brings it out of them.
Cool.
Versus like, you know, they always want to like hide that stuff.
Well,
so
you've had some of the most amazing shots.
and
Yeah.
it's the same philosophy but in a different perspective, right? So
you're really doing a complete transformation. It's not just body.
Yeah.
You're trying to bring complete, you know, inner and outer beauty at one moment at the end of it all.
yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
Absolutely. So that's the big thing that I've been working on this year. And that's why I've been doing a lot of stuff online and just getting it out there.